What up, tubers? Bunny here, and this week we're back in Kerbal Space Program. So this is it, guys. This is the big day. I am going to be launching Artemis 9 on a mission to the moon. Hey, Bunny, what about Artemis 8? Don't sweat it, Bunny. I already did Artemis 8. But we don't have video footage. Well, in that case, this is the part where I'll go ahead and say that I'm going to be posting a video on Sunday. And then you can see some footage of the Artemis 8 mission, which was an unmanned spacecraft that did a test mission just to see if I had enough fuel in the spacecraft as is to land on the moon and then return safely to Kerbin. And given what the video's theme is today, I'm happy to report that that mission was a success. Whoa, Bunny, before you continue, can you explain to me what about the plane idea that you had? Oh yeah, that. Okay, so in last week's video I lied. I am not going to be doing any planes in this video. In fact, this 25th video of Kerbal Space Program is actually going to call an end to Season 1 of this series. You're breaking the series up into multiple seasons, huh? I am, actually. In fact, my plan is, once I finish making this video, I'm going to fix up my copy of KSP. I'm going to get it updated. And then KSP videos will return in December with Season 2, New Possibilities. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and launch Artemis 9 to the moon. Alrighty, we are here on the launch pad at Rabbit Space Center. Actually, I gave it a name in one of my videos. At the beginning of the Helios 2 mission, I call it the Peter C. Bunnymun Space Center. C stands for Cottontail. Basically, to put it this way, if you've seen that old animation film and the DreamWorks movie Rise of the Guardians, basically you'll know that this is the Easter Bunny Space Center, just to put it that way. Now, I know it's September, but hey, you can still mention that good old bunny any time of the year. And now, allow me to introduce you to the crew of Artemis 9. Here in the middle, we have Neil A. Kerman. And remember, if you're trying to spell Neil A., just remember, Neil A. is alien spelled backwards. In one of these seats, I don't know which one, Edwin Buzz Kerman, he is on, oh, you got rid of the view? Okay. In this seat is Edwin Buzz Kerman, and then in this seat is Michael Phil Kerman. Yes, I call him Michael Phil. The name is kind of a joke referring to an 80s drummer who bears the same last name as Michael Collins. So you can guess what I'm talking about. Well, regardless, all three of them can feel it calling in the air tonight. So, without further ado, it is time to launch Artemis 9, go on a moon ride. We are now past the T-1 minute mark. Kronos 1 is now in startup. T-minus 45 seconds, stage 2 is now pressing for flight.
ASTS is ready for launch.
T-minus 30 seconds, launch director has given the go for vehicle to launch. T-minus 25 seconds, astronauts are reporting all is good. T-minus 20 seconds, stage 1 is now pressing for flight. T-minus 15 seconds, guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Go for ignition start. The engines are on. And we have commit. We have liftoff of the Kronos 1 carrying Artemis 9 on a manned moon mission to land and then return to Kerbin safely. Liftoff of Artemis 9. Kronos 1 is now pitching downrange. Artemis 9, this is Houston. You would go for booster separation. Over.
Roger.
You've had loss of some surface fins.
Roger.
Artemis 9, this is Houston. You are go for staging. Over.
Roger.
Artemis 9, this is Houston. You are go for launch escape system separation. Over.
Roger.
And Artemis 9 is now in space. Getting ready for fairing deployment. And we have go for spacecraft ignition. And we are now on our way into an orbital insertion. Wait, did I just get rid of that? Switch camera to free. And so far, everything is looking good for the launch. 95. Okay, kind of an awkward parking orbit, but I think it ought to do. So basically the idea here is I'm going to be flying my way to the Mun. I'm going to be using the descent stage to land on the Mun. Once I touch down, I should have a little bit of fuel to spare in preparation for liftoff. And I'll use that fuel up as I do my launch from the Mun. Once the fuel's depleted in the stage, then I'll ditch it and then I'll use my ascent stage to get the spacecraft out of here and going home. Oh, and at this point I can turn off RCS because I don't have any thrusters like so on the spacecraft. I don't need it. Alright, let's finish this parking orbit. Once the icon gets beneath the prograde marker, that's the point where I'm going to initiate my Munar burn. And Artemis 9, this is Houston. You are go for TMI. Over. And Neil, don't mention the fact that you clean the toilet bowl using Buzz's toothbrush. Nothing. Just go for TMI.
Roger.
So I'm going to give a spoiler for Artemis 8. The mission was successful, however on my return trip from the Mun, I made a mistake during one of my burns and it costed me maybe some half of my gas tank. However, I managed, with what fuel I had, to successfully return to Kerbals still. However, I do plan in this mission to be a little bit more careful about that. Okay, I'm gonna stop it. We are in a Munar trajectory, however it looks like I'm gonna need to do a mid-course correction burn to compensate for that little mistake there. Okay, I can do a little bit of that kind of mid-course correction, and I will do that. Yeah, it shouldn't even take a second. Let's warp over there. And Artemis 9 can say goodbye to Kerbin. At least for the time being. So I'm not going to even keep the burn node thingamaboober like right now because I'm just doing this slight course correction. Alright, we'll get to 30 kilometers of the Mun. That should be an okay... Okay, we're 9 hours, 14 minutes into the mission. I just got done determining a 23-second burn that should put the spacecraft into orbit once it gets down to the not the the periapse of the Mun. And we should be slipping into the Mun's sphere of influence in a minute. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and warp there. You know what? I need faster speeds. There we go. We are now in the Mun's sphere of influence. So, yes, I can get a crew report. What happened last mission? I don't know. Give me a crew report. Crew report? You look down at the cold gray surface. It looks really beat up with craters. Yeah, no, cow patty is beat up with craters. Look at that giant crater right there. It makes I'm losing my train of thought. Look at that crater there. It makes the Mun look like a Death Star. And Buzz says, that's no Mun. Guys, you want to know how many attempts it took me to get that little scene right? Too many! Look at my electric charge. I sucked it up. Armstrong, Aldrin, Collins, welcome to the Mun. You know what? This mission program is actually very thoughtful to astronauts' desires because, oh hey, it's Kerbin Rise! This flight program is actually very thoughtful to the astronauts because it allows all three of the crew to land on the Mun together and go jumping around, walking around the Mun together. Collins can actually come down to the surface this round. So let's go for our burn. Shutdown. 26:52. That'll do. Which one is coming up first? The apoapse. And I'm actually thinking somewhere around here, I'm actually going to make a maneuver. We are going to go for a landing somewhere in this crater right here. So I got the burn set. All that this crew needs to do at this point is, hey, I'm actually going to be landing on the far side. None of the Apollo missions ever landed on the far side. I think all of them landed on the near side. Well, let's go for an orbit around the Mun. And of course we can't see anything because we are on the night side of the Mun. But the sun should be coming up soon. There's the sun. So let's see, this is an 8-second burn. So at T-minus 4 minutes, oh hey, there's a deep crater right there. Some mountain range or something. So at T-minus 4 seconds to the node, that is when I'm going to initiate the burn. And here comes the crater over there in the distance. So basically what I want to do is I want to be able to do a successful burn. Actually, I think I'll turn that off and I'll get started with the burn. I basically want to aim just a little bit beyond the crater. That will ensure that I will actually land somewhere in the crater. Because if I were to aim for the center, I might end up landing on the edge. And if I aim for the edge right here, I might end up landing somewhere in this region right here. So at what moment will collision be imminent? 5 minutes. Actually, you know what? Let's make a save point. If one thing is certain about this space mission, I don't want to kill off the crew. Because quite frankly, none of the crew members of Apollo 11 ever died on any mission. In fact, Apollo 11 was their last space mission, all three of them. Now Neil, he got rather close to dying in Gemini 8, I believe was the mission. He got close to dying when his Gemini spacecraft decided to start tumbling because a thruster decided to jam up. How inconvenient. I wonder if that's a stunt I could try out in the next season. Maybe. Please do not judge me, but I'm thinking in 10 kilometers altitude from now, that's when I'm going to begin my re-entry burn. Well, not re-entry burn. The equivalent of a re-entry burn. Basically, if Falcon 9 were trying to descend onto the Moon's surface, it would have to do one of these burns probably before, well, Falcon 9 probably couldn't operate like it should on the Moon because, you know, atmosphere. Let's see, can I get a crew report for... Oh yeah, override it. I don't know why I kept it. Look at the surface of the moon and try to find a good landing space. The inside of the craters might be the best option. So, yeah, I'm going on the inside of this giant crater right here. Let's see, do I get anything different now? No, it still considers me in space near the moon. I actually think I'm gonna go for my entry burn maybe now. Turn that on. I'm gonna need to monitor the fuel tank. Shut down. We are now gonna start dropping, and I'm actually being a bit more of a guzzler. Okay, I hope. Let's see. Alright, I gotta do some fast thinking here. Let's transfer some of the fuel into the tanks. Yeah, this is good. Stop it. Stop it. Alright. Now we gotta turn all of these off. Gotta hurry, I am descending rather rapidly to the surface. Okay, let us go for a hopefully safe landing. Into this crater right here. I hope I don't land on an awkward slope. Does crew have anything new to say? No. Okay, we're beneath altitude 5,000 meters. I'm actually going to cut it off. And I'm just going to let it drop a little bit. Any new crew report? Inside of the craters. Yeah, obviously the inside of the craters. Okay, we're coming very close to touchdown. This is the point where I start to get a little bit nervous, I am going to admit. I tend to get a little bit nervous when doing these kinds of landing missions. Especially on the moon, where there is no atmosphere to slow me down, so I am unable to use the parachute. Artemis 9, you are under 30 units of fuel in the ascent stage, or descent stage, actually.
40 feet down, 2.5. Picking up some dust. 4 forward. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. Contact light. Okay, engine stop.
Uh-oh.
We copy you
What
down,
a
Eagle.
not so graceful way to land. Oh, please tell me the hatch isn't blocked. Oh, okay. It's not blocked. There's a view from here. Ah, yeah. You know what? That was a perfect landing. That was a perfectly Kerbal landing.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
I'll need to figure out a way to get the spacecraft to get back upright, but for now, let's take Neil on an EVA. Let's see, EVA report. The dust is getting everywhere. Look up and search the sky for Kerbin. Suddenly you feel very small. Kerbin again. You start to say something dramatic and poignant about the plight of Kerbal kind in this grand universe, only to be cut off by random radio chatter that the situation is nominal. I don't know. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, I guess this is how Rabbitkind is going to make his first step on the moon. That's one small step for a bun, one giant binky for Rabbitkind. Alrighty, so the crew got a good night's rest. Well, good Rabbit World night's rest. It is a fresh new day in Rabbit World. They are now pumping fuel back into the main tanks in preparation for launching. And that's everything. So I guess I don't really have a lot of fuel to work with. So I'm going to need to be careful. As you can tell over there, we just had sunset. So if I turn this around, yeah, you can still see that there's some sign of light. And crew, are you ready for launch? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch as far as I can up into the sky. Once I get high enough up, I'm going to ditch the descent stage. So these guys are ready for launch, so let's go in T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Alright, we've ditched the stage. And we are on our way back home. Okay, so once we get up to the apoapse, I'm going to do an orbital insertion. Hey look, there's the sun. And now that it's rising, it can now set again. Yep, there we go. We are too high up, we're too far away from the sun. Let's get up to the apoapse. So this maneuver should only take about a second. Uh-oh. Okay. Hoo-wee. Almost got carried away by the... Okay, so 18. That's good. So now, I believe if I were to do a if I were to do a prograde burn in 15 minutes, yes, that will do. So I'm actually going to get rid of that. I'm going to get down to a 45-degree angle. And now we just wait a few moments. Well, that's funny that I only pitched the spacecraft down to a 45-degree angle because now it's just about time to go for the burn. And I rotated to nearly a 90-degree angle. Anyway, let's go for our let's get out of here burn. So go. Hopefully we have enough fuel to go home. Oh, without a doubt. However, I am going to need to do a mid-course correction burn. If, that is, I want to survive. I'm going to warp here. These guys can say goodbye to the Munar. We're gonna go dropping down like a stone. Okay, so I think, no. Maybe? No, I would actually want to do radial out. Okay, so I just need to do a tiny mid-course correction burn. Okay, we are good. We are now going to safely return to Kerbin, and I had plenty of fuel to spare. Why did I ever doubt myself back in Artemis 7? Tell me, crew, how did I? Or actually, the better question would be why. Now we just port back to Kerbin and watch as the planet gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then we stop. So, I will actually say that we are go for separation of this upper stage, so we make the turn and bye-bye. Haha, watch as it just turns and does its spin. So, guys, I'm thinking just before you re-enter the atmosphere, I'll have you guys inflate your balloon of a heat shield. Artemis 9, this is Houston. You are go for inflating your heat shield. You are go for re-entry. We'll see you once we regain radio contact. Vehicle is experiencing atmospheric re-entry heating, and we have now lost the signal just as expected. You can see the Munar up there. Interesting sight. Well, I'm imagining we'll either land somewhere in this piece of land right here, or we'll splash down in this Gulf area. Physics can take its pick. I guess we can turn SAS off at this point because... Okay, we're going to be splashing down. That's fine by me. And we're definitely not returning to space. Now is probably not the mission to try it out, but I'm thinking any second now I will actually detach from the spacecraft, so let's try it out. Oh no. Ooh, this could be bad. Guys, I think I made a mistake. I think I'm actually supposed to wait before... Okay. Okay, you should be able to shake it off. Oh, I remember this wobbling from Artemis 6. No, that was Artemis 5. Whatever. Ouch! And I just lost the parachutes. Ooh, this isn't too good. I think these guys should be okay. I'll reset the altitude to 500 meters. Should be okay. Crew, I am sorry about my foolish mistake. I should have known better than to do such a thing on such a majestic and pomp mission. I'm sorry. Alright, parachute deployment any second now. Oh man, that was hard. That was okay. This is gonna be a hard splashdown. Apollo style! Barney, I'm home. Good job, Neil A. Kerman, Edwin Buzz Kerman, and Michael Phil Kerman. You are all heroes of the rabbit world. Well, that has been a successful flight. So I'm going to call it the end of that mission, and I'm actually going to call it for this week's video. So if you decided to skip over that beginning of the video, I'll say it again. I'm thinking on Sunday I'll post a video showing some brief clips from Artemis 8 mission. You can see how that successful mission turned out. And then in next Friday's video, I'm going to go back to Minecraft and, oh, there's the heat shield. Gone. And so I'm thinking in next Friday's video, I'm going to go back to Minecraft. I'm thinking I'll do Black Lake. I'm not exactly sure what I'll do in Black Lake, but I'm pretty certain that I want to go back to Black Lake. Well, that's what's in store for next week. This is going to conclude this week's video. This is actually going to conclude Season 1 of Kerbal Space Program. So I'm going to fix up my copy of Kerbal Space Program. I'm going to get it updated. And then in December, I'm going to come back with Season 2, Episode 1. Hey, there's the Munar. Yeah, this concludes this week's video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. See you all next week. India Alpha Bravo checking out.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.